Hello friends, today I'm going to show you a video and a repair that you have been expecting for a long time, and that is how to fix the stiff focusing of a Micro Nikkor 105mm f2.8, and we are talking about the AES version. So this lens right now is pretty much a paperweight. You have the diaphragm that is working and that's it. The lens is extremely dirty on the inside, so I think this is the dried grease that became a spray or whatever and became sticking to the glass, and you get this on both sides. Yeah, so the lens is super nasty, and obviously the focusing is almost impossible to move. So this lens right now is useless. So what we're going to do is to fix all that. I'm going to show you how to disassemble this lens, and to do so, one word of advice: be extremely patient. If you feel you have to take a break, do it, because this lens is not an easy lens to work on. So follow the instructions I will give you, and I'm pretty sure your repair is going to be a success. So first thing, we are going to remove the optical elements. We're going to try to remove at least as much as we can, and we will start from the front. So I will use a rubber cone that you can find on the video description to buy them, and I'm going to stick it here on the inside. And once you are in, you will need to apply some torque, more or less, depending on your lens. And this is not the first time I open it, so right now it is easy. If it's really hard to do, you can come with a spanner. There is two slots. There are two slots that you can see there. So this and this. So you can put the spanner key in, and then once it is loose, you just need to rotate, and you hear the noise. It's not really nice for this lens, so we'll need to do some cleaning. Okay, we have the first element that is removed. So next thing we're going to do, here you have a set screw. So I'm going to need a flat screwdriver, 1.2mm, Japanese version, like the ones I have here. This you can find also in the video description. And this set screw, you just need to come, you do a few turns. Well, mine was actually already out, and then the screw I'm talking about is this one here. And once that is loose, so you need to come and unscrew this element, and with it you have a few washers that should come out along with it. They're not coming right now, they will do just after. So far so good. Now there's this element here that can also be unscrewed, so you might need to apply a bit more force than I'm doing here. This is just for the example, but it simply just unscrews. And then here probably the isopropyl alcohol trick is going to work, but because as you can see the thread is just here. Okay, and with that I can simply pull the rubber, and you will find many things, and there is a lot of tape. This is not the original tape, I have already removed it. And then this thing is aligned here. Let me just zoom a little bit. Okay, for sure it's not going to be exactly the same tape. And then what we're going to do is to remove these brass covers. We'll put them aside, and you see there is an opening here, and there is also another opening on the back. So if these are not super tight, you have some dust that will get into the lens through this. Okay, so far so good. There is also some tape that I put here, but then as you can see, since the focusing is so stiff, the minimum motion I try to do grabs the tape I have put just before. Okay, and maybe before removing that tape, you would like to do a mark like I have here. So I use some tape that I put, then I make a drawing, so I point the arrow with something in the middle, then I cut here exactly in the middle, and then I am able to remove this element. Right now I cannot take it away because it is blocking here, but that is the cue to start working on the back. So now we are going to remove the bayonet. So I am using a J000 screwdriver head, like this one. You can find also a link on the video description. Okay, then the bayonet, you remove the 3 screws and it comes out super easy. Here you go. And here once more we are going to use the isopropyl alcohol, and then as you can see here, well, it's not very easy to see because everything is black, but then here on this little edge, well, you can see over there is some glue that we want to remove. So once again, you come with the isopropyl alcohol, you put it here, and maybe anywhere that you can access. You let it sit for a while, and with something like a rubber cone to have some grip, you come and untwist this thing. And then what could happen, and that happened to me, is that this element is made of several lenses, and you can simply unscrew the first part and not the rest. So what I did was I twist hard in this direction to get it in, I mean the top part, and then I was able to remove the bottom. So this element here, unless you have fungus or something like that inside, it doesn't need opening, so I'm not bothering with it. I just want to put it aside somewhere safe, and we are going to clean it afterwards. So, and then we have one more optical set of lenses just in the bottom, and you see one of those is very dirty, and it is quite normal because you see all these openings, and in between this one we just remove it, there is just air and everything is open. So it is quite normal that it got also extremely dirty. So far so good. Now we are going to remove the aperture ring that we usually pull, but I cannot do it right now because I have this element attached and it passes below this mechanical part. So what I'm going to do is that there is 2 screws here that I'm going to remove. So I put the screw somewhere safe. Here is the aperture ring, and then the next thing I want to do is to take out this element, and normally I can do that. Let's wait. You can usually tilt it and get it out without disassembling it. We're going to do that just after. So now I'm going to remove this element. And with that I can remove this whole thing, as you can see. Put it on the side, and then I can pull the other element, and be careful with this little thing here. That's to do a bit the stiffness of the focusing via a little knob that I don't have here, but once again I paid this lens like 15 euros. And then this is a good copy, and then this is the knob. It looks like this, but if you own this lens you probably are aware of that. So I put the thing aside, and okay, and then I will go a bit further with the focusing, and that's just to be able to take the element that goes with the aperture ring. So you saw I came a bit further here, then I put it out, I tilt it, and it comes out. Doesn't need disassembly. Okay, so we are reaching a critical point, and we are close to start disassembling the helicoids, and this is always extremely tricky in lenses, because if you miss the position of the helicoid you will lose focusing, and to get it back if you haven't marked the position is going to be a painful thing. So as you can see, I have already some tape put a bit everywhere. I recommend that you do something similar. So first thing, I put some tape here on this barrel. I mark it with a number 1. I put tape on this side, also 1. I have the mark that we did in the beginning. Here a second mark with the number 2, and I align here a second pair of numbers with the number 2. So now what I'm going to do is just to get in. This is just to make our life easy. And as you can see, it is extremely hard. I think at this point we could have already dropped a bit of lighter fluid to make the motion a bit light, like I show in this video here, and that was for a 500 millimeters that was completely stuck. But obviously disassembling and cleaning and putting new grease is always the way to go. Okay, so far so good. Now we are going to remove this element here on the front. So this number 2 is supposed to go in front of this one. So I don't remember exactly at what moment I put it, but it's not relevant. I did that when I was preparing the video. So, and if you hear some yelling, is my neighbor, which I think he's not very in good mental health, and he fights often with his wife. So if you get some yelling, don't get worried, it's quite normal. Okay, So here from the front, I will try to close the diaphragm here, because we're going to work on the front region and we still have some glass. So now I am here and we are going to remove these screws, and you see why it is important to close the diaphragm. So these ones here are glued, that's the red traces you see, but yeah, if you force just a little bit, they come with ease. And the only thing you need to be careful about is to use the right screwdriver. This is extremely important. Some people try or tend to ignore that, and they end up with broken screw heads and then irreparable lenses. So with that, we can pull this element, and you can see these are the washers I was trying to remove in the beginning. I'm putting everything on a bin in case I don't finish the whole video today, so I have everything organized in a single place. Okay, right now we have the original mark that we did on the very beginning. I will insist. Some people do physical marks on their lenses. I know they don't go away, but yeah, I don't feel good with making scratches on my lenses. So what I do is to put some tape, and then this usually works also fine, but I need to repeat the marks from time to time. And then the other thing you can do, this works also fine, is to put tape and then again some tape on top of it, and this is going to protect the marks. Okay, so where to go from here? So we are near finished with the disassembly. We still have a lot of things on the inside, but we're going to start working with the helicoids. So I will remove these screw here, so you can mark or you can remember the position. In our case here they are about in the middle. Okay, 3 screws, and then this thing moves, and here, you may wonder why I don't remove this right now, and don't do it because it's not going to bring you anywhere, at least right now. So we have separated this, and now I'm going to rotate in the opposite direction, and here you will see one helicoid which is appearing and at about this position, so a bit just before the two, it separates. So I'm just going to make the marks. And here, so I know that will be the in position. What I propose we do now is a first cleaning of this part of the lens. So we clean, we re-grease, and then we reassemble at least this part, and then we continue with the next helicoid, which is just behind here. So let's do that, and to do so I got something just to be clean. So here I have some cooking paper, and I use some plastic below, and what we're going to do is with a toothbrush and some lighter fluid that you see here, we are going to clean the old grease. We have to be careful not to wash away the marks, even though we are a bit away from them. And here on the inside is exactly the same thing. This part is extremely simple, so I'm going to show you a bit of the details, and then afterwards for this second cleaning we will go a bit faster. So I add lighter fluid very gently. I have also some toilet paper to clean just after, and then we can see the layer of all grease getting away. Okay, this part is quite clean, even though I can do better. I will do that off the camera, and this, the interior, I will do it also off the camera. I think you got the idea. So it took me a bit more time than expected, but I have already cleaned this helicoid here and the interior. I had to come with a very little tool and then remove some hard chunks of grease. And while doing that, this thing fell, and I noticed something interesting, and that is that there's only one possible direction to mount it, because these things are not exactly at 180 degrees, they are at an angle. So if I do this, they mount properly, and then if I try to do the opposite, this one matches, this one not. So this is one of the things they use in production to mount these lenses, and it is good to know. Okay, so now we're going to proceed with this element here, and we are going to apply some new grease. So this is the grease I use, is the SKF, and the reference is LGLT2. So you see it here. It's a very good grease. So if you cannot find a replacement, I will prepare a video explaining to you what is the proper grease to use. And this one is usually for bearings, so high speed, very low friction. This is essentially the reason I use it, and it's also very clean grease, so you don't have to replace it often, which can happen with lower quality greases. So we put quite a bit. Well, it's actually not a lot. It looks like it is a lot, but it is not. And then to spread it, I had a very nice tool to do it, but since I moved it, I totally lost my tool, and I'm highly disappointed of that. But I will know the day I will stop looking for it I will find it immediately. This happens all the time. So how can I spread the grease? Let's use the back of the toothbrush. So it's just to get a first spread of the grease and get it a bit everywhere. So I paid a lot of attention to the marks, and then this is the 3 marks. I made here to match my 3 marks here, so I should be able to get in position without greater difficulty, even though, you know, getting into an helicoid is usually an exercise of a lot of patience. Okay, so I'm almost in position, and I think I should move here just a bit. And here we go. So that's for the first helicoid disassembly and clean. Now I'm going to remove this, and we keep with the disassembly of the next helicoid. I forgot to mention something important. Once you have got the 2 parts mating together on the helicoid, you should do some back and forth motions to spread the new grease. And as you can notice, and you will notice on your lens, the motion here is now really smooth. Okay, and now we'll proceed to the further disassembly of the lens. Okay, now we are going to tackle the last part of the disassembly of this lens, and notice that here I put the screws that retain this part with respect to the inner part. So I recommend you do the same thing, and I am doing this because what we're going to do is to remove these guides that make that when I rotate this helicoid, they move the inner part that is going to push or rotate this part and then make this second element move back and forth. And by doing that, I will disconnect both of them. And since anyway the helicoid here is still a bit hard to move, what I'm afraid of doing is when forcing here, I will apply some torque and this thing is going to slide slightly, and I'm going to change the position of this front barrel. So this is my recommendation: fix this so you get a better grip on this front part. So there is 3 screws on one side, 2 on the other. Okay, and just as you have might notice, there was some glue here, but I just forced it on the screwdriver and it came out easily. Okay, so we have removed the connecting guides. Now we can start rotating, I have my marks here. Here we go. The Helicoid is still a bit hard. So what you can do, if yours is a lot harder than this, and it is very possible, you can add a drop or a few drops of lighter fluid already once it is discovered, and you let it work, so it will maybe make your life a lot easier. So this one, it is still okay. I'm applying really some torque. Okay, and I am near the position where it's going to separate. I did it before and I made the marks. So at this point, when you have a lot of helical discovered, you need to be extremely careful and move really slowly, and once you separate, you hold it in place, you remove anything, and then you come and make a mark, something that you will remember afterwards where to put the helicoid in. So I got it separated, and here I have this thing. It is extremely sticky. You see that? This normally shouldn't happen. Okay, and here you can have access to this lens here. In this case it's very dirty, you don't see it a lot, but it is. And you can even unscrew this element. There is three screws on the bottom. I'm not really sure about that, but yeah, this is not the goal of this repair. I will do a separate video showing you how to remove the optics. Okay, so now we reached this point. What I'm going to do now off the camera, because you saw it already how I did, is to clean the helicoids. So I cleaned this the best I could. It was extremely difficult because the grease was very sticky. Now the sticky is gone. I can see some traces, but I tried even to scrap it at some point, and even then it is very difficult to remove. So I will leave it there, and I hope the new grease is going to get away with that. Okay, so now we are going to put the new grease, and while you're cleaning the parts, be very careful if you made your marks with some marker like I did, because with the lighter fluid you can erase them, and that can be problematic for the reassembly. Okay, so right now let's go for the grease. With this new grease, I think we won't be able, we will need to take care of this lens for at least the next 10 years, which is very good news. Okay, so now I spread it. I use toothbrush. Now let's get these two guys together, and as usual the tricky part is getting the helicoids to match. That's it. Okay, and now you see, remember how difficult it was when I was removing this, and now see, making near no effort just to do the back and forth motions. So this is so satisfying. Okay, and now while I was working on the lens, I had these two bars who felt. So let me just put them in position. Okay, so what I just did was to put these parts here, and now if I finish the rotation, I should face the holes of these parts, which is the case, and that means we are very good. Let me just remove these elements here, and that sound is my computer who is kind of complaining, even though I am not doing any heavy work with it. Okay, and then make sure these screws are well tight. Okay, and now okay, it's still a bit hard. I think the grease needs to spread better or whatever, or maybe I need to take care that these rods are not making a lot of friction on these elements, but otherwise we have done what we want. So I will do some final checks of the camera, just for example that these things are aligned, and otherwise we meet in just a second for reassembling the lens. After reassembling the lens for the first time, the focusing was a bit stiff. I wasn't very happy with the result, so I came back because I realized I was missing something. This inner ring that you see here, that we're going to see more in detail just after, I thought it was just a simple thread, like in the Nikkor 51.4 AS, that you just unthread the thing and it's a very fine thread, but not. It is actually an helicoid that it is also very sticky, so we are going to access it. I'm going to show you how to remove it. I will clean it. I will do that off the camera because the procedure you saw already. But first thing you will realize is I made permanent marks here. I gave up a bit of my convictions, but the thing we're going to do just now is a bit tricky, so I want to be safe with the marks. So I came back to the position we were just before. So first thing we are going to do is to remove these things here. Okay, so we unscrew this, we look for original mark, and then we unscrew this, and what we're going to do is to count the turns. Normally it should do one turn, and a half, and then it comes out. I wrote that in a piece of paper, so on my lens is one turn and a half, and I marked the position where it leaves, so you can see the 3 marks here and then the 3 marks just there. And that's for the first part. This we did already, so you should be familiar with it. Now what we're going to do is to remove again these elements. This and this. Okay, and now you can make the choice of keeping this element in, because what we're going to do just now is to unscrew this. Okay, so I have my marks, and I already made somewhere the separation marks, but they got erased, I think. And we will start counting. Okay, we made 2.75 turns, and I already have my marks in here, so they were just hidden. So I'm just going to write the number of turns, 2.75 in my case. In your case it might be just slightly different, but that will be a good reference anyway. So, and then this is the point where it separates. I will make permanent marks. So I will be more easy when I'm going to wash this. Okay, and now we have this helicoid that we were missing, and which is also very sticky. And you will see that at the end of the video I try to move the lens, but I'm not really happy with it. It's still a bit stiff, and this is the reason why. So what I'm going to do right now off the camera is to clean this, then we reassemble this part, and then we will reassemble the whole thing. Okay, we have cleaned the oil grease on this part. Now I'm going to oil that. I will be very quick because you have already seen how it's done a few times. I don't clean the toothbrush right now because I will need it to apply here, because with the manipulation and everything I have almost removed all grease here. Okay, now we look for the marks we did at getting out. And then remember we did 2.75 turns, so we do one turn, two turns, and the last turn, which is not complete, we should fall in these three marks we made originally. Okay, so that's for that part. So we're near good. What we can do right now is to put again the blockers for the rotation. Okay, so here we are good. We are aligned. Then we put a bit of grease on this part, because with all manipulations it is gone. Then here I made some marks, and then here once we get in we should do one turn and a half. Okay, so one turn and half, and we get 2 mark. Okay, we are done. Okay, now it is really smooth, and we can continue with the original video, and we're going to finish the assembly. Now we are ready to start the reassembly of this lens. First thing I'm going to do is to come to the minimum focusing position. So that means twisting the lens so this helicoid covers entirely. Here I cannot go any further, and the next thing I'm going to do is to put this little element that you remember we tilted here, and here you go. So we have the element in, and remember that there is a pin that goes in the middle like this. So that's the first part. Then we are going to put this ring here, the ring with the marks for the distance, and remember that in the beginning we made a mark, so we put some tape, made some mark, then we cut, and here we get to the initial configuration. What I can probably do right now is to add some tape here just to hold this guy in position. Okay, we're good with this. Then the next thing we are going to do is to add this ring, and remember that right now we are at the minimum focusing position, so this ring here, I'm putting this ring just now because otherwise I cannot insert this thing. By that I mean if I put this part that I'm rotating now just before this, I wouldn't be able to have enough angle to put it in easily, and I will have to disassemble it, which I don't want. Okay, and here, since we are in the minimum focusing position, I align this line here, and normally my holes shouldn't be really far, and here I am aligned and I am spot on with the holes. Okay, here we are good. Then we check this thing, it got out of the little pin, so I put it back in position with the pin, and now I'm going to add the bayonet. So I have two cues here. One is this little part that should meet these slots here, and the other one is that the holes should meet the part we just put before. So far so good. And now I hold the part, and then I try to look for the holes. Here I am matching the holes, and I need to put the screws. First screw is in, and then now I can put the second element. Okay, now we are going to put the optical element. This is very easy. You just need to screw it in. You can also clean it. I'm not going to show that specifically on this video because this video is about the stiff focus repair, which we did. But if you're interested in cleaning a lens, you can take a look at this video here where I explain all the details of cleaning a lens. Okay, here we are good. We can maybe go back to about the infinity position. I can tell you the focusing feels super nice right now. Maybe before I was feeling some strain because the grip was very little. Now I have a good grip, and when we're done with the rubber it will be even better. Okay, so here we are good with the aperture ring. We check the direction here, so this lever, I just want to check the direction of this, so this lever goes behind, and with that we can put the bayonet. Okay, here I have, you see, I have the spring that is coming out, and that's my crazy neighbor who is yelling again to his wife. But don't get worried, I told before, it happens very often, and I think they are not in the best mental health. Okay, I managed to push it. So take something pointy, you push it gently, and gets in the bayonet. Very easy. Now we are going to put the screws. Okay, and here we check all this is good, so we can put the cap and we can move to the middle section. So here, remember, we had these covers. Okay, we probably need new tape. Or not. Okay, I will keep it because I have plans of disassembling the lens after. Then the second cover. Okay, now you put the rubber ring. So this is the good moment to put it in, because yeah, it just slides in very easy. Very good. Now wait. And this element here. I can focus the lens without difficulty. And now we come to the front part, and here we have this element that has this position, so there's these little openings that are aligned with the part on the back, that we clean it, and they are connected through these little parts. We have this ring here. Now we can screw the optics. Don't lose the spacer ring if you have one. Sometimes it is not necessary in your lens. It depends on the tolerances. So if you didn't have one in the beginning and your lens was working fine, don't worry if you're missing this part. Okay, so we get the rubber cone. It is in position. Double check with the spanner. Okay, now we are really good. And to finish, we take this part, we pay attention to where the little hole is. That's where the set screw is to match. We find the set screw, we add this thing. I already had a mark, so this is why I didn't make a mark with pen. So, and then here we are really close. I probably need my rubber gloves, which I don't have at hand right now. Okay, I got it right. And to finish, we screw the set screw to lock everything in position, and here you go. This is the result after we have cleaned also the second helicoid, and now the lens feels super smooth, super nice. This is not an easy repair, so as I told you in the beginning, be patient and you will be able to rescue this wonderful lens. This is all I want to show today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.